Hey, I'm Sanjana.
My name is Caitlin.
My name is Kasib Simha.
Hey, it's Angela.
What's up? It's Brian.
I am John, and this is Earthlistening.
Hey, so welcome to our first special edition episode. Today we invited a couple of high school seniors, Sarah and Michael, to talk about their unique experiences as a senior during a pandemic and how school closed, leading to an online graduation. So
thanks for the little introduction, Brian. So most of the viewers or listeners that we have today don't know much about our special guests, so I would like to invite them to introduce themselves.
Right, sure. Hi, I'm Sarah. I graduated from Cerritos High School around a month ago, and I would be an incoming freshman to UC San Diego. And my experience is okay so far. It's quarantine, so there's not really much you can do during this time. But yeah.
That's great information. Yeah, I completely agree. It's been a little difficult during the pandemic. You probably won't have the same experience as most incoming freshmen into college or university. How about you, Michael? How has your experience been during this time and things like that?
So transitioning over from Cerritos High School to Cerritos College it's basically gone off without a hitch, which is great because out of all of the other plans I laid out for the year, college is the only thing that's still standing.
Yeah, that's right. That's true.
Amazing.
Okay, so for both of you guys, what were your initial expectations on becoming seniors in high school?
Okay, so I'll go first. My initial expectation, well, I would say I didn't really have any expectations going into senior year because, I started off as a freshman at Cerritos, and it was my fourth year. So it was this process that I already knew I was going to be going into as. And, the club activities and the extracurriculars were pretty much going to be the same with changes probably to positions and whatnot. So when I was going into it as a senior, I didn't really have anything I was looking forward to because it was pretty much like junior or sophomore year. I was excited for the first day of senior as a high school student, but that was pretty much it.
Well, that's nice. You don't mind telling us what your major was, and did it have any kind of like difference when you were trying to apply for college? Did the pandemic have any kind of effect?
I applied as a psych major with an emphasis in social psychology, and I've been wanting to do this probably ever since my sophomore year. So I don't think the pandemic has put a damper or a hold on what my major was going to be. So that didn't have much of a difference. I was still going to go into psych. So, yeah.
When you were first entering like your senior year, what did you have anything that you were really stressed about, or was there anything that you were like scared of to come face to face when you were going into senior year?
I would probably say failing a class because, when you fail a class in your first semester or your second semester of senior year, you can't really graduate until you make up that class. And I didn't really take any excessive AP classes, but there's still that lingering, fear that I was going to drop a class or I was going to get rescinded from a college. So that was something that I paid attention to during that time.
So quick question, you mentioned that you picked psychology as your major. So was there like a specific thing that inspired you to choose psychology as a major?
I would say I chose psychology probably because I wasn't any good in math or science. And just reading about psych was very interesting. And sometimes in my free time, I would just check out some books on that. And I find it very therapeutic because it helped expanded my thoughts about how you interact with people and how people see themselves. So that was something that I thought I would want to pursue when I'm in college.
Oh,
That's
wow.
really, like, cool, because like I know most of the people in our generation have not like checked out books on a certain thing that they want to study about. They usually just like know it, or like they're like, oh well, I learned this topic in school and I liked it, so I'm just gonna do it. But you put the time and effort to check out books and to read about it, and you found what you're truly interested in.
Yeah. So, Michael, what was your initial expectation about being a senior? Was there anything you were expecting or excited to look forward to?
For my senior year, I tried to stack the deck as much in my favor towards enjoying it, because like there's a whole reputation of senioritis, but
Yeah.
then I didn't want to, like, I guess, lays off on what I actually had. So I basically like went down to like 5 periods. I slept in, and then after that I had 5 classes that I really wanted and extracurriculars that I also really wanted.
You changed most people's senior years probably involve 6 periods because of their art credit and things like that. But you kind of made it more like tailored to you and like making it a year where you could relax, but also put your full effort in for college and things like that.
Yeah, definitely. You don't want to stumble on like the final years, so try to enjoy yourself.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah. Because it's like,
Michael.
after all, it's the last year of high school.
Definitely stressful.
So, Michael, what exactly did you major in?
What am I planning on majoring in? I'm planning on majoring in engineering, probably mechanical.
Oh.
Oh yeah, look at his profile picture. It enforces that. Hey MJ, what was your most stressful year of high school?
Junior year.
Oh, I see.
Every person says that.
Was it because of the test on the extracurriculars?
Probably a mixture of all of them, because I was doing okay-ish in sophomore year, but then by junior year everything just ramped up, and so doing okay-ish, but I wasn't necessarily becoming a better student at the same rate as my work was increasing.
So then, was there anything specific that inspired you to choose engineering as your major?
I'm not sure about anything specific, but like I guess like the classic inspiration for any engineer in this generation is 2007 Iron Man.
You guys both were seniors. Now you guys are freshmen, so you guys are going to repeat the entire process once again. But what was something that you look forward to as a junior in senior year? I know most people are going to say the stress levels or the fact that you're done with high school and you don't really have to think about, like, not done necessarily, because you're still going to have to go through a full grid with AP tests, but like you don't have to focus so much after you're submitted into a college or congratulated into getting a college. So like your extracurriculars, obviously they're supposed to stay the same, but you can lay off that stress on yourself. What else were you looking forward to as a senior?
Wait, so the question is something to look forward to as a senior or a junior?
And as a junior, what were you looking forward to as thinking about senior year?
Oh, okay. I would say probably the graduating aspect of it, because, high school, 4 years of it is a lot, to say the least. And you just kind of start wondering what it's like once you're in college and how you can live independently and see and meet a lot of different people. So I think a lot of people were looking forward to their senior year because it's the last year with their friends and teachers. But I was more interested in seeing what it was like after graduation.
So you were thinking more about the future rather than just the year coming forward. You're thinking about the experience you're going to have in college, or the experience of just graduating and leaving the school behind, like entering the bigger world.
Pretty much, yes.
What about you, Michael? What was something that you kind of thought about as a junior coming into senior year?
I wasn't quite as forward thinking. I just want to take it just 1 year at a time. And I was thinking that senior year would be the year where I just go for it in terms of what I'm trying to do. Like I was taking drama class, and then senior year was like, I'm not gonna be shy this year. I'm gonna be up on stage, that sort of deal. Because you can't just wait around senior year.
Mm-hmm. John and actually I think a couple of us here today went to Almost Maine, like the play, and we saw you there. John even yelled out your name, which makes sense because he's your brother. But did you guys use senior year as a way to broaden your perspective on things that were part of your dream? Because I know most of us growing up, we tend to put our dreams on the sideline, because the reason that they're called dreams is because they're difficult things to accomplish. So putting them on the sideline gives you the availability to kind of have some insurance to focus on something that's more attainable, rather than a dream is obviously a dream because it's harder to attain. So did you use senior year to like expand on your knowledge? Like I know you took place in the play. Did you have any aspect of doing that in junior year, of thinking about, I should join the play, or I should start to do something that's more actually away from the regular traditional like education that most parents or most of us want?
In terms of widening my perspective, I was always taking like extra art classes on the side, but I guess not hyper focusing on engineering and just taking part of the arts, because like some people aren't as supportive as the arts of the class, like, it's not going to get you to graduation, it's whatever. It's the arts can mean a lot more when you're investing yourself into it, like someone on a stage, someone entertaining. And that's what I got out of it for when I was a junior and just taking this drama class after taking an art class and not liking that as much.
So would you describe it as an art for the art classes that you were in, as a way of kind of reminiscing your own experience, or like something that makes you enjoy school a lot more because you're able to do something that's based on what you truly enjoy?
Yeah, I wouldn't say truly enjoy, but because it makes it sound like there's only one thing, but like being part of something like a cast of a show or a sports team is really something where you can find yourself, the people like you. It's really some place to like be you.
It's an aspect where you truly get to be who you really want to be.
Yeah.
So it seems to be relating to everyone during this time of COVID. All of us are staying at home way more than we used to before. So I feel like it has opened up our minds to a bunch of things that we probably wouldn't have done, because we wouldn't have the time to, or we wouldn't have the opportunity to think about doing something. So what are some things that you have experienced or done online, or like physically doing activities at home that you wouldn't do during the school time and at school?
Stuff I done at home. Well,
or has it been the same?
It's honestly been less, because when the thing about like being part of school and the clubs is that you're provided with an environment and the people to help you out and like encourage you, teach you, just chat with, that sort of deal. And for something like performing I don't have a stage partner anymore. I don't have a sorry about that, my dog just walked in. It's and then school was like a good environment to like get enthusiastic about these things, and some of the things are just not possible anymore. You can't be part of a sports team in a pandemic either. I can't run cross country in coronavirus, so it's honestly been less.
There's something like I want to bring emphasis about, like what you mentioned earlier about you're going to major in engineering, but at the same time you also wanted to go for it like in terms of theater and acting. So I think that's really cool to like take note of that, because people could do like science and like STEM, but at the same time also have a passion for the arts, and it's not so like clear cut like, oh, you're a sciencey person, like you're more geared to engineering and math, but like a person can have a variety of like different likes and hobbies they enjoy. So I think that's really cool. So then during the last day of school as seniors, was there what was your reaction? Because originally that was supposed to be your graduation, and like it was supposed to be like, oh, like socializing and like the last day between your friends and being there at school. So like, was there any like, did you have any strong reaction to the last day of school, or like what was it like during online graduation?
I think for us as seniors, we had two. One was virtual and the other one was drive-through graduation. So as the last day, I don't know. I didn't really feel anything because, the weeks before school is going to end, teachers don't really assign you anything else. So you're already on that mindset that, you already graduated, there's nothing else to do. And the thing about drive-through graduation is, unfortunately, you couldn't see all your friends and the students. So when I received my diploma, I just thought, oh, it's all over. There wasn't really any lingering feeling of like nostalgia or like happiness. It was just completing a phase of school life.
So would you say it's kind of like a numb feeling, like it's like, oh, that's it?
At least in my perspective, it was pretty similar to that, yes.
Oh, I see.
Okay. Well, speaking of online graduation, did you guys have any like feeling for it? Like, were you guys looking forward to it, or were you guys like meh?
For online graduation, I thought it was pretty cool because, it's streamed online. You don't really have to dress up or anything. No one is really going to see you. And on virtual, you can still see the pictures of every person graduating, and, you can still celebrate it with your family. So I thought that type of live stream was kind of interesting, and I enjoyed watching it, yes.
Would you say it was more intimate because you were with your family, you were just sitting there all together congratulating, rather than like a big crowd of people when you're graduating, not graduation?
Oh, good point. Actually, I remember my virtual graduation. I think my dad was playing tennis with his friends and my mom was working. So it was just my brother and I. But it didn't really matter as much because I was still able to, hear the words from our principal, people from ASB, and see pictures of my friends. So it was okay. And plus, you can go back to rewatch it again and again. So I think that was one of the good parts of it.
That's an interesting way to look at it.
What about you, Michael? Did you have any strong reactions to like finally graduating, or did you have any thoughts about online graduation?
It was honestly a bit of a letdown because I wasn't like you said, it had the possibility to be more intimate, and it was. I was on a group call with some of my friends. We cheered on each other's names, except we cheered at the different times because our videos were all out of sync. It was a bit more intimate, but I wasn't expecting to have all of it just be sort of spread out. It was like, what, a week of excitement and a month or two of absolute like deadness. And then that's your graduation. It was kind of a letdown. I wasn't planning on going crazy for graduation, but I wasn't expecting it to be just a sort of fizzle.
Oh, I see.
Do you want the school to promise you guys a physical graduation, like years later, how they usually do high school reunions? Because I've heard the seniors talk about that.
I try to avoid talk like that because I'm a little bit tired of all the speculating and hoping. Because during the early days of the shutdown, there's just like a list of, oh, this sports team is shut down, this club is shut down, oh, your production's shut down, and then eventually it reached all the way to your graduation shut down. And I'm kind of trying to divorce myself from high school's like dead and done. Like for some people it ended on March 17th, some people it ended on graduation. And for me, I still sort of don't know.
So your senior year was obviously different compared to everybody else. So can you describe senioritis in a couple of words? Because each person has a different description when it comes to quote unquote senioritis.
I think, oh, sorry, you can go, Michael.
Oh no, you first.
Okay. I think for senioritis, it doesn't really just happen when you're a senior. It can start as early as, freshman year or maybe, start of junior year. People call it senioritis because it's like your last year of high school. So it's a sort of leeway that you could release. You can, relax a bit. But my take of senioritis is just, when you give up trying on your classes and you kind of underestimate the workload and the consequences of, not studying or doing your homework.
What about you, Michael? What is your perspective on quote unquote senioritis?
I'm gonna have to agree with Sarah there. Procrastination is universal amongst high schoolers, because I would know I've been through every year procrastinating. But I guess for senior year, the culture is more relaxed. So yeah, senior year, the culture is more relaxed. You have people spreading around the word senioritis. You have the teachers sort of like, oh no, these kids are like they're on vacation. They're about to have vacation all the time. And it's, I guess, exacerbates whatever sort of laziness whatever everyone had.
So I guess just to prevent that to happen with senioritis, what kind of motivation or maybe a figure did you guys look at to motivate you to just finish senior year really strong?
For me, it was probably the college decisions. I know I couldn't really mess up my grades because there is repercussions. So that was kind of motivation for me in some sense. For other people, it could probably be, oh, I just want to end off the year strong. I want to set a goal for myself. But at least for me, I just wanted to graduate really badly. So that was the type of motivation I gave for myself.
How about you, Michael?
Well, I was already doing like extracurriculars and stuff, and so I was like committed to trying to do like the whole senior year, like finishing strong. But in terms of my circumstances, with like the fact that Cerritos College isn't as stringent on final grades, and the fact that our graduation requirements just got lowered during the quarantine, I was sort of just like pooped out and tired of just trying to keep up with a routine where like one class is just like completely dead and another class is just assigning like the same amount of work but with even less guidance or even less of being inside the classroom to focus in.
Yeah, I think it's really important, especially here with all like, oh my gosh, I'm almost done with high school. It's like important to have the motivation to keep on pushing and to like end the year off strong and like, yeah, it's really interesting.
Like to have that satisfaction. Yeah.
With the whole college application process that you guys obviously might have had or didn't have, just thinking about the whole college experience and deciding where you want to pursue your future in, what was your top college that you really wanted to go into or be accepted into?
For me, I didn't really have a dream college. I was able to visit some of the campuses during my junior year, but I didn't do enough research for them to have one that really stood out above the rest. Initially, I thought about going to college out of state just because I really wanted to get away from all those California vibes and really see what it's like with people from living in a different space. But, you know, in the end, when you really choose your colleges and you pay your application fee, I think I just realized that I probably wasn't mentally prepared to live that far from my family. So I just decided to choose like a UC in terms of, you know, cost and proximity. So I guess San Diego was probably the dream school that I wanted to go to. Yeah.
What about you, Michael?
For me, I wasn't necessarily proud of my performance as a student. And so when I heard the Cerritos Complete program come up, and it's basically like low requirements, you basically fill in your paperwork on time, you listen to the instructors, you don't fail your first year, you get a free ride to Cerritos College, and that, I guess, provided a lot of a breather for me because I wanted to go to some place like UCLA with like their big engineering programs, their extracurricular robotics. Some schools built like F1 race cars. I wanted to be there, but like realistically speaking, my habits weren't enough to handle like what the course loads and that sort of stuff like right away.
Did you ever have the question arise about, did you even want to go to college? Like the whole question, quote unquote, do I even want to go to college? A lot of people, like during this time especially, are able to reflect on your self-awareness and overall your self-being. So did that question ever arise when applying to college?
I just want to.
Okay, so if I ever wanted to go to college, higher education seemed like the way to go in terms of careers and whatnot, because for engineering pathways, we had to actually do research on how to advance on like what career we're planning on doing. So like the pathway, like my freshman year, sophomore year, I had to research the majors and stuff. And I guess that played into me just having to go to college. Cause, and I guess beyond just engineering, I know lots of people just like, oh no, general education is gonna take up my time. It's gonna sap my energy or take up my money. But I guess for me, it isn't as much a concern since I personally wanted to branch out to other stuff, just as I guess just to learn, because learning is fun. That's why I took drama and got like 3 art credits when I only need like 1 in the first place.
For me, the thought never, crossed my mind because with my cousins, they all went to colleges after high school, even, yeah, I think all of them. But my parents were considering it because my time management skills isn't the best. So they were thinking that, oh, if I end up not getting accepted to any good college, I should just work instead. But I guess it never really came down to that. So I'm glad that I don't have to work for now.
I'm just a bit curious, like with like the financials of like college, how did you guys like, I guess maybe overcome that or something like that?
For me, I think with a lot of people like applying to college, they would have to turn in the FAFSA, for federal assisted aid. It comes in the form of grants or loans or work study programs. So that was something I applied for. And there's also something called the Cal Grant, which is, just for students in our state here. And basically, they take your financial information like annual income and they see to it the amount that you actually need, and then they award you money based on that. So those were the 2 things that really helped me afford college. But also applying scholarships, it really, really helps. So I think those are just the top 3 things for me.
And then I guess how about you, Michael?
For me, to help with the financials, I did leap onto that Cerritos Complete with the free 2 years, because normally engineering courses or like engineering, I guess, what do you call them? Like an engineering path in college is usually like 5 years. And so I wasn't that much of a go-getter to like be able to achieve those scholarships and whatnot. And when I signed up for my FAFSA, I basically just got drafted. And I guess that's it. So that Cerritos Complete is basically the bulk of my plans for now, because I'm, again, not too proud of my time as a student.
I know that like the financial aspect, especially to like us not being seniors yet, it seems like a very big and like ominous like challenge we need to face. So then based on your previous or your personal experience about like applying to college, what was the biggest challenge or the hardest thing you had to like face, or something that surprised you that you thought was easy but was a bit harder than you expected through like your experience of applying to colleges?
I think it was probably keeping track of deadlines. I think if you were applying to, multiple colleges, like out of states, privates, UCs and Cal States have the same deadline. So when you submit, it's all at once. But if you're going to like those other schools, then they may have their own separate date. So actually one of the schools that I applied to. I thought that I finished the application process, but it never ended up sending to that particular college. So I think it's very important to, set up a schedule and a reminder as when deadlines are, because they're final, and just to double check or triple check, especially your financial information as well.
Yeah, I think deadlines are very underrated but very important thing, because if you miss the deadline, then you're just missing your entire application. You just completely missed your chance of applying. And that goes to way back to elementary school. You got to make sure you meet your deadlines, and from the start you set off that good habit of turning things in on time, and that really helps during college applications and making sure everything is turned in on time.
Mm-hmm.
And then Michael, do you have a specific challenge you came across while applying for college?
For college applications, I guess specific challenge would be that the process is kind of nerve-wracking, because you're keeping track of the deadlines, and then there's the fact that it keeps getting hyped up over the school years, because if you're in any of the AP classes for social studies, AP World, AP US, the end of the year is basically just talking straight out about college. And I guess that was kind of daunting, and also part of the reason why I just took the Cerritos Complete program, so that way there was a lot less headache for me.
Yeah. With the whole thing we're going through, what are some things you guys want to do as soon as coronavirus has died down, or we stay-at-home order that probably will be inflicted in a few days or a few weeks? What is something you're looking forward to?
I would say probably being able to go out and eat is a really big thing, just because, even if you order takeout, it's still not the same thing as dining in a restaurant and just having that atmosphere of people and music. I made a promise to my brother that we would go do Cone Appetit and then eat some ice cream. So I think if, quarantine and lockdown measures loosen up, that'll probably be the first place I would go.
That's probably a lot of things that most people do right now. Going out and eating, experiencing a lot of things that we right now. We're oh, I don't want to hug you because Corona. That's the perfect excuse you can use right now to get away from someone. But that's probably on my bucket list too. Yes, I said bucket list. Going outside and eating. That I think I would never say until now. Another thing I was wondering or wanting to ask incoming freshmen into college is, what do you collect and how long have you been collecting it? You're going to be in, some of us may be in the same area in college, or some of us may be out of state, or everybody pretty much just leaves their families I want to experience a life alone, or just tries to distance themselves away from relying on their parents. So who is your hero and why? Because when you distance yourself away from family or the people around you, you tend to kind of forget about the people you might have aspired to be. Because if it's somebody who's part of your family, you tend to walk away from them, or you tend to be I don't want to be relying on my parents or seeing the people around me that I spend every single day with. So who is your hero and why?
Michael, would you like to answer this one first?
Okay, sure. So I guess the pressure to move out hasn't been as strong since with the pandemic. It basically, you're gonna move out and then there's gonna be not as much work because the businesses are shutting down, and then you can't room with someone else because you might get sick, and your school is shut down in the first place. But for somebody I'd look up to if I did plan on getting out, I guess.
That's kind of, it really just depends on the type of environment you enter college with. How about you, Sarah?
Someone I will miss going into college. Sorry, is that
someone you would miss, and your experience of like learning that you're probably going to be far away from your families and like letting that all set in, you know?
Okay. I think someone I would really miss is probably my mom, because you never really understand homesickness until you've been away for a while and you can't really see them face to face. My mom, because she's usually the person that really listens to me if I'm having a rough day. I can just really let loose. And for us, our school is still planning to have dorms and on-campus learning. So my roommate and I are already deciding to live together once the fall quarter starts. So it's just not having someone to like really talk to with your problems, or just hanging out with them. So I'm just really gonna miss my mom, but I think I'll get over it in a while.
I guess in your guys' opinion, do you think college would be harder than high school?
I think it depends on your work ethic in high school. I know some people who work extremely hard. They've taken multiple AP classes during their years, and really, put themselves out there in, clubs, volunteering, work. And I feel like that adjustment wouldn't be that hard to adapt to, because, it's something that you did in high school, so it's easier to do in college. But for me, I probably didn't take high school as seriously as I should have done. So I feel like once I enter in high school and, you have classes and you have tests, I feel like that is something that I would really need to work on. But I'm sure in your guys' cases, you guys wouldn't have a problem at all.
I guess, what is one thing both of you guys are excited about for college or for your freshman year of college?
For me, it's probably just, meeting new people. Basically meeting new friends, because it's different than in high school. But I'm not sure if you heard the stereotype of, UCSD being socially dead. So I don't really know how that would play out. But I'm just really excited to join clubs, even though their meetings might be virtual, or just seeing the kids in classes, stuff like that.
And how about you, Michael?
Basically the same thing, because, specifically for like the engineering scene on Cerritos High School, it was like I know everyone in engineering, which is okay-ish, but like the amount of people who are actually committed, and then like the fact that there were like by senior year there's only like 12 people in the engineering pathway, and then I was part of robotics, and there were like even less seniors as part of that group. I didn't have like enough, and I felt like I didn't have enough people who are like as invested or like on the same interests as me in high school. So going to a place where like people can, it's where it's harder for people to just like tack on engineering to their program and just like drop it. Like for Cerritos College, you picked engineering, so you're a little bit more committed, and I can be with my people, sort of.
Okay. What is one thing about all this like COVID pandemic stuff and staying at home? Like, what's a life lesson that you've learned from your once in a lifetime senior experience?
I would say cherishing the time, with friends and family before, the pandemic happened. During school, back then in the fall, I would hear a lot of people saying, oh, I wish school was over so I wouldn't, have to do any homework. But, a few weeks into, quarantine, a lot of people were like, oh, I wish we still had school so I could at least see my friends and talk to them. So I would say probably don't take light of the memories and the times you spent with other students or your friends, and just really take the time now to spend time with your family, since it's not really like extended vacation, but you do get to see them more often, and I feel like that could be a potential positive side to this entire situation we're facing right now.
How about you, Michael? How has it been for you?
For a life lesson, I have to say, like, you really gotta just, like how I said it earlier, like how beginning of senior year, I was gonna go for it. For the most part, I guess I'm satisfied for what I had for the year. And I guess just knowing what you want and then like not just letting that sort of stuff be on the back burner really paid off for, the unexpected, like a whole pandemic and stuff. And if I didn't go into senior year with that attitude, I guess I'd be more regretful than disappointed. And I think I'll settle for being disappointed rather than regretting it.
That's a really good moral understanding, or like a way of benefiting yourself and kind of motivating yourself through yourself, if that makes sense. So this was a really good interview. I enjoyed talking to all of you. I'm pretty sure all the members enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much for attending.
Thank you for your time. It was enlightening.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking your time and joining us on here.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. Check us out on Instagram at Earthlinking2020. Check out our website on Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Earthlinking Team. Donate to our GoFundMe located in the description box of our first video.
This is Earthlistening. See you in the next episode.